Good afternoon. The time is 3:45. Let's start our final session. My name is Anu Printsman, and it's about coastal accessibility. And please join Slido questions. I don't know if we need any icebreakers, but there are some Slido questions. Have you ever experienced difficulties accessing the Baltic Sea coast? And I don't mean during the Soviet period, but I mean during maybe last 10, 15, 20 years. Because when doing planning, MSP planning, but also landside planning, then we encountered that there are lots of issues with coastal accessibility. And also from landward and also seaward. So, yeah, if you have your personal experiences of encountering difficulties. Yeah, make it visible. Yes. And no, also, so you are lucky persons if you have not encountered any difficulties, or you don't go to the beach very often, or to the coast. So we have 25 and 75% scores. Can we go to the next slide question? Next slide question, please. And then, if you encounter difficulties, what kind of difficulties you have had? Is it cattle? Is it barbed wire? Is it just mushy ground? So what kind of experiences have you had? Or if you are a sailor or a fisherman, is there private land? Why you can't land? So what are the topics that we have to deal around here in Baltic Sea, or maybe also in Northern Sea, or other seas, Mediterranean, something else. So you have to type in, don't make up very long sentences, maybe just a couple of words or phrases. What are the things that hinder you? Because, yeah, if you are afraid of cows, then it's an obstruction. If you are not afraid of cows, then you can go to the beach in some parts. So we are waiting for the results to see. This 75% of people who have had difficulties. And while you write, the point of the session was to bring together national level planning, regional level planning, and coastal level planning. We have academics, we have local planners, we don't have policymaker who is presenting here, but also to pay attention to the landward and seaward accessibility, and perhaps also offer some solutions, what have been done. And we have presenters from Latvia, Poland, and Estonia. So do we see any results? So there is a private land that is the holy cow, like we say in Estonia. So this is something sacred. But in planning, you also have to deal with that. So I don't know if all of these topics will be covered in Andris Kleeper's presentation, but our first presenter will be from Andris. Thank you for the Slido, and Andris.
Yeah. Good afternoon. The pleasure is all mine to continue with some of the insight. You just raised the bar. What are the problems? What are some solutions needed for those areas? My name is Andris Klepers. I'm the local from Latvia, and I come from VASAB University of Applied Sciences. And my expertise in this is to do some 10 years assessment, not like yearly, but 3 sequentially projects have been executed in the coastline of Latvia, and always with the same methodology about the accessibility, coastal infrastructure, and all those issues we just started to discuss. So, first of all, a little bit of data. What is the current situation, and what was that current situation 10 years ago when I started that journey along the coastline with all the data? So first of all, this is really public goods territory. This is a symbolic landscape, and almost half from the Latvian territory is covered under the protection of Natura 2000 network. Mostly all the visitors were the beach holiday visitors. Still all kind of segments exist, but that's the major mass, let's say, from the visitor economy. Seasonality has been such a strong impact 10 years back and is still there. And if we count like 120 days from the whole period of the swimming season, we say just around 30 are optimal for the beach holidays, which makes it really like 25% only from the whole swimming season. And yeah, if we just think about one of the problems raised here about the public infrastructure, then it's not only about creating the infrastructure, but one of the main problems 10 years ago was quality of the infrastructure at the same time. Not only that there is a lack of infrastructure, even there were so many places without that. So partly this will uncover about the visitor insight and impact. I will show that with the next slides. And we will come to some solutions, let's say. If we put the stresses towards the solutions, then of course this is where the discussion could lead. So first of all, in majority of peripheral areas in Latvia, excluding some capital city surrounding and very few regional cities, we have quite large decline of the population. And from one side it's aging, from another side it's really decline in numbers. But then if we compare with other areas, this is quite stable. In some areas we would have during those 10 years 9%, 10% decline, in some other even 30% decline. But then this shows quite a stable number, which means the properties at the coastline, they are well sold and always demanded, so that it's probably not so harsh situation in those terms. But if we compare how many people are living there and we think about that recreational potential, that's of course one of the numbers we should take into account. So in Latvian, 500 kilometers in the recreational distance from the seashore, daily recreational distance, there are more than 100 residents living. Not so much in comparison with some much more populated countries. The key facts and trends during those 10 years are incorporated in this table, and we see some of the changes. First of all, what I already mentioned about the number of people living within that area. Afterwards, we see the number of tourists is really growing. And first of all, it changes in the structure. From one side, we see people are less on the daily basis, but so many properties are converted to be as a tourist accommodation. So more, almost 100% more in 10 years increase of the capacity of tourist accommodations. So if we look for the number of guests, it has increased as well. Not only supply side, but also demand side has increased. And maybe one what is stable here is the proportion of international tourists which are visiting the beach and the seaside, the coastal area. It's quite stable all the time, and almost like 40, yeah, a little bit more than 40% in the last year. If we think about the car presence here, then it's the major and very dominant way to access the beach. And this creates one of the major problems also in Latvia, that we have so many parking lots which are used quite extensively. They are overcrowded during those 30 days of the year, and then in the most of the period they are staying empty, and of course we reserve those lands for those very hot summer days, and this makes one of the things. But the number of cars, you see two different facts here. It has really increased quite a lot. It's doubled in the most popular resort in 10 years, and it's about 1/3 more in all the other remote areas. So if we think about Latvian population, which is around 1.8 million people, then we see the number of visits at the seaside is in the coastal area is about 8 million per year. So those are visits, which means, yeah, more people, the same people can visit sea several times per year, which is obvious. And yeah, that makes it quite popular, but I should say shopping mall is still more popular, library is more popular than the sea, museums in total in Latvia are more popular than the sea. So that's on the frequently basis how much and how regularly the visitors are presented in those areas. So what is really important is to see the impact of visitor activities on coastal dune vegetation, and there is some improvement in that area, that this impact has decreased. And if we don't see that number during 10 years, then I would say that all that big work from the municipalities investing into the infrastructure, trying to control the visitor flow, trying to make certain solutions for that, that would not give the results. But the results are there. They are not very fast, but it really confirms that part. And if we go into details about the Latvian coastline, and specifically about dispersion of crowds in this dune area and the impact from crowding, then yeah, we can mitigate very intense zones, but what is visible that people are tending to spread more and more in those areas which we keep as a remote areas. So there is one contradiction here. If from the interviews we see what is the most popular motivation for people to visit the beaches, they always blame, we don't like other people there. And that is a phenomena. So they try to search for new places, and of course that makes that impact wider, but we control better those intense zones. Another thing is, you see how that has changed in both directions, that it's not that we can boost just tourism growth, or we can say everything is positive here. There are certain sections where we say nothing has changed really in 10 years in terms of anthropogenic impact. There are good sections where certain changes has improved the situation, but there are certain sections where the situation is worse than it was 10 years back. And of course, this is probably one of the planning debates here, because when we say there are priorities and we make the priority zones and the municipalities invest in those priority areas, we see the improvement there. But then there are some settlements which are visited as well, and more people are coming there, and we don't have the infrastructure there, and the situation worsens in those smaller settlements. So there are both ways here. I already mentioned about parking lots, and this is about the total surface where we can count more than 500 of parking lots around all coastal area, and this is literally like 1 per kilometer, but it's not distributed evenly. And yeah, if we think how many people could fit into those parking lots, it's more than 130,000 people at the same time. It's pretty much. But yeah, when we think what we do with the same area for the rest of the time, it's a bit tricky. It rises also the discussion, and that we had in one of the scientific discussions, how to regenerate the paths which are not legal or which we don't need anymore. And one of the consequences here is that if we build like one solid trail and we concentrate certain facilities there and even certain services, we really can impact the visitor flow so that they start to concentrate in that area. But if we don't manage all the rest of the trails, they stay just there for a very long time. And in those vulnerable dune areas, certain management could be done more actively, that we really close those some of the remote areas, that we regenerate the habitats, not just letting them be and hoping that the nature will take over. In some of the areas we have like 30 different trails and one really good facilitated trail, and this is just one of those examples. Another thing is about the maintenance of the infrastructure, that in many cases what has been raised as a problem, that we have different funds allocated for building the infrastructure, different projects and one-time investments, but then the problem is how to maintain it in the long term and how really to get some share from the visitors. And there are different practices which are out there, and some are thinking, okay, this is exclusive place, we don't charge no one, but at the same time we see that this system doesn't work properly in all the areas, especially in those sensitive ones where the visitors say maintenance of infrastructure is really problematic. So they start to blame, but nobody asks certain amount of shared money from their side. I would say that this priority, what we learned from the Latvian side, is really slowly going towards the soft mobility and excluding cars more from very fragile areas, but it happens slowly. Still, in so many areas, the cars are present, and we see that some stricter measures could be made, really limiting access for cars. But at the same time, if we think about the most popular international bicycle trail in Latvia, that would be the one which goes around the Baltic Sea. And this is definitely one which we need for all 500 kilometers, so that we can run non-fragmentedly with the bicycle around the Baltic Sea. It's still not there. It's in different stages in various municipalities, but that would be very high priority. It's also about some bottleneck places what were identified around the capacity when we start to build the infrastructure. Probably that capacity is bigger for the parking lot, but then there are no sufficient places at the beach side, or in some areas we started to lose the beach because of the impact to currents. There are certain sections in Latvia where this is the problem as well. So there is a hope for some technological advance where it really could be implemented with some smart technologies where we read the number plates of the cars visiting the area and ask some measure, let's say some money for that, but also we limit and we coordinate the folks which are crowding towards the beach already good in advance where the crowds are, and probably to avoid those areas. We have those systems working very well for shopping malls, for underground parking lots. It hasn't been invented yet in the Latvian beach side. So there are certain services they need to be much more adapted to the climate change and to the local climate, let's say, conditions. And one thing, the visitor flow is very predictable. We can predict when the crowd will be there, but the waste management and a lot of other management systems, they don't run towards that very predictable flexibility. So there are certain structures which are working a little bit less flexible. That's it. So far we are. I will let certain questions in, or probably at the end of the discussion, but my 15 minutes have gone, and yeah, I'm looking forward for some good conversation. This is working, or? Yeah.
Couple of questions. Now it works. I think it was here.
Thank you, and thank you for the presentation. I was wondering about the situation for construction or building construction in the shoreline. In Sweden, we have still increasing constructions every year in the coastal areas. How is it in Latvia? Do you know that?
It's strictly regulated, and of course we have some differences between the countries, but it's very regulated inside the settlements. We have 150 meters coastal protection zone, and outside of that 300 meters. And then of course we see that there is a pressure. It's a growing pressure to like some construction there. And what I think what we lack, we really lack very transparent trial processes where we see, okay, somebody has been punished and we really take something away. Usually somehow we negotiate that still the illegal buildings are staying there. I would really see some kind of lessons learned if something would happen more radically out of that process, where we see some illegal buildings have been legalized afterwards. Some have been taken away which were mobile, probably. We had some loud cases, but actually I know that we can achieve more in that sphere.
Do we have more questions for Andres?
Happy. Let's
have
some conversation later on after all the presenters have made.
Do you know how many people go to the libraries? If you say that libraries are more popular than beaches, and we have now the 500 years of the first books in Estonia and Latvia. So how is libraries?
Yeah, 20,000 people per month, and it's pretty obvious how much people crowd like in this very dark area towards the libraries. And if we count all the libraries of the Latvia, it will make that number twice larger than we have in the seashore. And that's incredible. So we like culture. We crowd around culture as well, but beach holidays are still there, and it will be for the next generation, I guess, as well.
And another question that I had, how many of these people who go to beaches, like surfers or these SUP boarders and kite flyers and sort of these, what I would call like new activities that you do in the beach?
Usually they are not conflicting, because right now is a very good time for stormy weather and big waves, and let's say Latvian surfer paradise period is exactly in the autumn, good breezes and storms, and of course it asks some good resistance with neoprenes and good equipment. But yeah, those are usually the areas which are well accessible, and what they like, that this accessibility with car is directly at the beach, so to carry less all the heavy equipment. And of course we have such places, but then some small towns are probably privileged for that as very remote areas, also from security reasons. So that is a stable, small niche of people doing that, but never too much crowdy, and they are not making the largest impact, let's say, on what the problem is.
So thank you, Andres.
Good.
And next up is Jacek. So you can also, as we are a very small group, so we can ask questions directly. So.
Okay. That's it? Okay. I can change it here?
Yes.
Green. Okay. Yeah. Thank you very much. So I must say, I like Latvian coast a lot. So my favorite place is Bernati. And still, if I compare it with Polish case, it's empty. Really empty. You can enjoy it. Okay. So I was asked to make presentation about Polish case. I'm, from my background, maritime spatial planner, but I live there. I'm on Polish coast, so I will share you some of my observation. And this is on behalf of this Association of Sea Cities and Municipalities of Poland. That's such a lobbying organization. They are lobbying against national, regional governments, for the sake of those coastal municipalities. And I have divided my presentation on two parts. The first will be very brief presentation how those coast is accessible from land, and then as a planner I will show you the seaward situation. But let's start from the coast, and Polish coast is very specific, as you can see. Here in the Gdańsk Bay, we have a big agglomeration, Gdańsk, Gdynia, and iconic touristic Sopot. Each Polish person wants to be at least one time in her life in Sopot. This is a must. And then you have this part, and you are looking for the red, and red, it means that the area is urbanized, and there is not a lot of red. So what does it mean? We have a lot of small municipalities here, also some parks, national parks, but a lot of municipalities, very small, around 10,000 less, but during summer times, there is 50,000, 60,000 there. So you can imagine what is happening in terms of wastewater treatment, access to the drinking water, and things like that. Okay, and here you can see these municipalities, and you can see the population density. So it's not very densely populated area. So there's not a lot of people on the coast. What's very fascinating, they are losing permanent population. So they are not very attractive as a place of permanent living. Young people, they are going out. So they have 2-3 months a year when they are vibrant. And it's very difficult time for them. Okay, so this was introduction to the coast. And then you can see the main problems, which I will illustrate with some, slides. So, road congestion. Okay, here is, the most interesting part. We have two. One is Vistula Split, shared with Russia, and this Hel Peninsula. So, from my home, and my home is somewhere here, to Hel, I can make it in 1 hour, 75 kilometers. But during summertime, it can be 3-5 hours. So you can see those people nicely queuing, and they still believe that they can make it. So they can take their own car, and they can go to Hel. Hel is the city, so don't have, exactly, go to Hel. I mean, here, I'm in Gdynia. Here we have a bypass of the city. So, I'm not using this bypass during summertime because on the bypass you have only cars from Warsaw. And they are queuing, to go. They are queuing 100 kilometers or more. Okay, you can ask whether we have train. Yes, we have train. But I would say I congratulate you if you made it. I mean, if you go into it. I remember during communist time how it was difficult to enter the train. Here you must have the same skills, going through the window and things like that. Okay, so road congestion. So that's the first. And it's so funny because we are discussing it for so many years. Okay, make a big parking here. Stop. Make only buses here. Mission impossible. Okay, next one. Here you have a railway connection. Railway is saving our life, of course. But the problem with railway is that we don't have a railway around the coast, which means that we have only railways coming to the coast. And those railways are in the very bad shape because they are used only during the summer. So, they are not doing the job which is requested. You can see that all of them, they are yellow, which means the secondary network. The only one which is properly in better shape is this one to Hel, but it's still one line. So, there is a train congestion there. And what we have here, what we have is beautiful bike route. That's what is existing. That's existing along. But train, it is a problem. And you can see these problems. Those people, they want to enter this train on this very small platform in Hel. Okay, next one. And now is anthropogenic pressure. In Poland, it is forbidden to build on the so-called protective belt. Because protective belt, according to the Polish law, should support stability of the coast. But you can see this beautiful hotel. So if big money speak, the law sometimes is very flexible. Okay, so this is something which is unbelievable. Unbelievable. It's on the dune, in the middle of the forest. Forest was cut off. Wow. Guinness Book of Record. And now, I would say, because I said if money speak, usually money win. And here you have these problems that, always the short-term gains are more important than long-term ones. So here what you can see is, because I showed you, I will come back to this one. Okay, here is very shallow area. It's 1 meter something. It's the best area, but very valuable in nature. But it's the best area for wind surfing, even for children, okay? Now, coming back to the slide. Okay, so here you can see the campsites of all those windsurfers coming from all over the Poland. And they to stay there because, it's very safe, it's very nice. But here is original coastline. This was artificially built against the law, totally against the law. So what they put waste here, and then on the waist some mud, and they extend, because this is, can you imagine each person is paying a lot of money for their stay? So it's a huge business. And what is fascinating is this business is not owned by local people. It's usually owned by big bosses from around the country. So, you know, it looks very ugly, but what was originally there? Originally there was a reed. But nowadays you have only waste. So, you know, so this is about, you know, situation from landward, and now seaward. So here is Polish MSP plan, and I want to tell you what we did in the plan to improve the accessibility from the sea to those municipalities. So first of all is access to the ports. So here you have a small port, and here is the area for the port to secure accessibility to this port, which means that they can build a new infrastructure there if it is necessary. They can put, you know, some resting area, some waiting area, redsteads. This was secured. So each port has such an access area to the sea. The second, I would say most controversial, is about coastal protection, because you can see the majority of Polish code is erosion, which means that we are losing it. We have also nice beaches like in Bernati, but we are losing. Sometimes its retreat is very big. So sometimes even 1 meter or more per year. And now what we did in the plan, we made this, these areas, and this was very controversial, because those yellow, this is for coastal protection. So the definition is that in this area, we should secure the natural mechanism of protecting the coast. And what was expected there? Tourism. And we don't have priority to tourism. So in all those coastal areas, either you have those access to the port, or you have this coastal protection. So it means that the priorities are, you can see here tension between national priorities from the sea, which is the coastal protection, and local priorities, because the local priority is development of infrastructure towards the sea. And if this colliding with coastal protection, this is impossible. So at the end of the day, I think that 3 municipalities did not agree with our plan. So the plan was accepted, but... Okay, now, new types of marine tourist activities. We also, in this plan, we secured place and access to new types of marine activities, because a typical is, you know, sailing, but it's clear. But now in Poland, we have diving to the wrecks. And you can see those wrecks here. They have different classifications. So there are wrecks when you can dive, and there are some other you should not dive there for different reasons. Humanitarian, but also historical reasons. And then there is also this angling. So the fishermen, because they are losing their economic base, now they took people and they can fish on the sea. We also secured this. And we secured all those places for making this flights towards the sea and things like that. So we try to take this tourism, which is not colliding with coastal protection, into consideration. And this is in the plan. So, making the long story short, all this area which is closed to the coast is free from permanent construction except ports. Free from permanent construction. Permanent construction are only EEZ. Okay. And now something new, waterfronts. This is new development. We did not take this much in the plan because each port, as Magda told you, each port in Poland has its own plan. But this is something which we are coping with. I mean, here you can see that those traditional, here is those traditional Gdynia port, my city, traditional, port places, they are using their meaning because they are too shallow. So, for example, Port of Gdynia wants to extend to the sea. You can see this gray part coming to the sea. It will be new port. And here you have this marinas, you have these waterfronts. Why it's so controversial? You can see this big tower. You can see it. It's the biggest building in my city. What is striking here on this? What is unbelievable? This is an evening. Look on those buildings and look on this one. Where is the problem? No lights. Why no lights? Because nobody lives there. It's, holiday apartments owned by Warsaw people. Okay? So, there are some problems, really problems with planning. And now, something which is obvious. In our plan, we should take into consideration sea level rise, storm weathers, and things like that. This is obvious. Okay, so now I introduce you our thinking about accessibility from the sea. So here you can easily see that if you don't take care now, then in the future we'll have problems. And now I will come back to the municipal level, and I will share with you some smart solutions about sustainability. This one is from my city, Gdynia, so there is for free electric bus taking people, and they can enjoy the sea. And because of that, you have smaller congestion on this sensitive part. And here you have also from my city, areas for paid parking. Because everybody wants to go to the sea, but it's really extremely expensive, believe me, because you can see that you must pay from morning to the evening, and then if you want to stay, let's say, for the third hour is €2, okay? For the third hour is €2, so it's really a lot in Polish circumstances. And then the second is water shuttle. I told you that there is this congestion. And especially this congestion is very, very, very clearly seen here on this part. And in the past, there was a water tramway connecting Gdańsk with Hel and Gdynia with Hel. It was very, very efficient. It worked maybe 3-4 years, but at the end of the day, the cities, they said, no, we'll not subsidize it because it was very, very expensive. So now there is another idea, water shuttle, which is much smaller, and will go not from Gdynia, Gdańsk, but from Puck, but it will also save a lot of time. And as you can see, it's also ecological friendly. And the last example is from Sopot. I told you that Sopot is very iconic. So if you are in the Sopot, the congestion is so big that you can even not go to the beach because there is plenty of people. But what was interesting, because here in Sopot, the big business is to have a restaurant on the beach. And Sopot said, no more restaurants, okay? So it means that there is a conscious policy of the city of restricting all the construction in the coastal bed. And that's very nice. That's it. Thank you very much.
Who wants to go to hell with Jacek? And do you have questions for him? Yeah.
Jacek. I was living in hell for 2 years.
Yes.
That's the city there. So I remember, Jacek, when we were doing the indicators report, State of the Coast report. I don't remember how many years ago it was, 15, 10?
No.
The picture was the same. I mean, why nothing is changing? I mean, what's happening? Like we are talking about this in different projects, and not only projects, also with the regional development agencies and so on. How can we save the situation if there is like no power? Maybe it's to both of you or to everybody. Why are we all the time seeing the same pictures?
I don't have a
I know.
easy answer, because the problem is that the law is at place. So if you follow the law, you don't have all of this. Of course, in terms of investment, that's another issue, because as I told you, they don't want to fight. I mean, municipalities, they don't want to fight against congestions. I don't understand why, because the biggest money from this coastal tourism are not coming to the coastal municipalities, but still they are very stubborn, and they say, no, we'll do nothing to restrict the movement of people. But honestly speaking, I think that the only way to change it is a long-term education of people. That's it, because other way around, because I am looking on my son. So me, my wife, who are using car. And always when we're starting a car, there is a question for my son, why you are going by car, not by the public transport? So this is a mental shift. So perhaps this is what we need, that I'm not sure to what extent this will help. And of course, we can have more committed governments. But the problem with the government is that those small municipalities, they have a very close touch to the people. And those local people, they say, do not disturb our business. And their business is not very exciting, because they don't own those hotels, they don't own those camping sites. They are working there, they are maintaining there, they're making, very low-paid jobs. But still, thanks to those 2-3 months, they earn money for the rest of the year. That's a problem. Yeah, please.
I give it there.
Thank you very much. Valdas Rakutis, Lithuania. And we also have a problem in Curonian semi-island, which is very like hell. They have been in hell by bicycle. And they have a problem that rich people will buy in Nida, in our most important town in this semi-island, property. They are rich and they can pay a lot. And local people decides to buy house on the place of flat and go out from this region. And Nida disappear of local people, especially school. They are very close to closing, very close to such situation. And what to do, it's a real question. What to do, how to have local people in this semi-island, because of, as you say, 3 months active and 9 months passive, yes. And people decide to go to land. And if you even will have some temporary people, you never found place where they can stay, because it's so expensive that you need to pay 2 or 3 times more for them for simple work. How you deal with this problem?
Now, that's a huge issue. As I told you, all those municipalities are depopulating, and they are not providing the access to these most important services. I mean, that's an issue. For example, degradation of the hospital in hell. What I can tell you is that, at least in Poland, we are hoping for this new offshore development. So there will be new jobs in maintenance of offshore. Maybe more jobs related to the qualified tourism as well. But tourism is 2-3 months. But we try to extend it for the entire year. If you have this, health treatments, not a normal tourism. But it's a really tough issue. If we have better accessibility, let's imagine that you can take to Gdańsk by 1.5 hours by train. If it is reliable, those people, they can stay on their place and they can commute to the agglomeration. This is also possible. Now what we did in our coast nuclear power station. So this station, I'm not sure, because it's huge discussion, but perhaps there will be some jobs there. Also, there is a risk that they import of people, with skills which are necessary from the country. So we are doing the programs for, for those locals to benefit out of it. but it's not easy, I would say. We have examples of very good, successful stories. For example, in Świnoujście, which is in the coast of Germany, that's okay, because it's a port there, and then a lot of Germans are coming all year around for this health treatment. And that's fine, that's fine. But the German inflow is sufficient up till the middle of the Polish coast. And they are coming there also during the winter. That's what I can say. Okay, here was a question.
Yes, but we have to move on.
Okay,
Thank you, Jacek, once again. And we go to Saaremaa, to Estonia. So Helen, please.
Hi, yeah, it works. Hi, my name is Helen Erik, and I'm representing of Saaremaa municipality. And I'm here today to give an overview of challenges around coastal accessibilities in Saaremaa, Iceland. A little bit of the context. Coastal accessibility in the Baltic Sea region faces several connected challenges. Today, on the example of Saaremaa Island, the region struggles with tensions between public accesses and private land ownership, amplified by the privatization of land and limited public rights of way. The challenge is regional, but the local islanders feel it more and more. It constantly the problem gets bigger and bigger. There are many aspects of the problem. For example, it's the physical access. Who can reach to the shore? It's the social access. Who feels welcomed at the coast? If you think about about beaches, a shoreline is technically open for everyone or open to public, but there can also be some social barriers still next to those places. You can also ask about is it a culture or a historical access? Whose stories or traditions are represented? For example, fishermen or fishing communities, or some other coastal activities such as reed collecting, or in Saaremaa, a really big thing is collecting of, we have, it's a strange word now because we have it in our own language of Saaremaa, which is muda, but mud, but it's not mud, it's something else. Here I have put one place where should be an access to the coastal area. It should be mandatory by law, but the landowner has tried every way of possible not to get any people to the coastal area. So conflicts arise as new landowners often restrict traditional access points, such as community pathways, and what locals are used to use to just go for beach or to land boats. So this in all leads into community dissatisfaction. Here I have brought a little example from Vilsandi hiking trail from Saaremaa to Vilsandi. It's the trail changes in season. Sometimes it's high, sometimes it's low. I went to the winter time and I only could walk there for 2 hours and I couldn't go more. I had to go back because I almost fell in because the water level was quite high. But this is the example what I wanted to bring in. So there's ecological management because it's a seabird protected area. It's a national park. There are fishermen that go through. There is a specific boat road that goes through this hiking trail, and sometimes you can't just go through it because water level is high. So there is like ecosystem preservation, public access, and fishing tradition, like meeting place. About a little bit of Baltic Sea to Land project, how we used it to get some information about accessibility to the coast. The research in Saaremaa applied multi-level governance perspectives, combining stakeholder engagement, participatory GIS, interviews, surveys, situation scoping tools to address challenges. In working in workshops and surveys with stakeholders that we engaged with locals, the authorities, local businesses, NGOs, to map their coastal usage and access issues. So on this map, you can see those blue points where people could point out where they go in a coastal area, how they go there with the car or with by walk. And in many cases, actually, people pointed out some problems in it, whether some accesses were changed. Fishermen couldn't go anymore to the coastal area because they were sheep fences, or there were some sort of fences, other fences, or restrictional stop signs. So this gave us some overview of how coastal and what kind of coastal areas in Saaremaa are mainly used. In the knowledge gap identification was also done, and we highlighted the areas for to improve. On the map, you can see the little small dots of red and oranges. And lastly, using tools like Baltic Sea to Land Navigator platform for the data integration and the policy recommendations. That was a helping tool for us. Here, some solutions from the project and what we analyzed from the gathered information from the stakeholders. So there was a need for public access principles that we added to the municipal general plan. It gave some defined rights, some awareness, because many people didn't even have the awareness of the easements. We integrated spatial planning to align private and public use. And as well, we commissioned a project drawing for trail development on 2 places in Saaremaa to get more people to the coastal area, and the coastal area will be more used. People still used it, but now could be more usable. Through Baltic Sea to Land project, Saaremaa got quite guidelines dealing with coastal accessibility, putting community at the center. Local voices helped shape our plans that fit our needs, like locals' needs and culture. And working together across Baltic Sea Region countries from the Baltic Sea to Land project countries, we could learn from each other and plan better. So in the end, I wanted to say that coastal access is a social and space issue. Collaborating builds trust, because especially island people, they are losing trust easily. They don't trust municipal workers that easily, or any. Future MSP can make coasts more fair for all, and yeah, that's what I wanted to say also, that it's just so that the local person also feels things that have been planned, also feels them for a bit more fair. Thank you.
Do we have questions for Helen? Because I know the case, because we are in the same project and I have been to Saaremaa. Come to Saaremaa.
Yeah, there's someone. You.
Hello, it's Minttu Peuranemi from Regional Council of Lapland in Finland. Thank you for the presentation. I was just wondering, when you have had this
participatory
engagement in Saaremaa, is this something that you have done or conducted earlier already? Are people used to participating in this kind of planning? And what is their feedback on this kind of participating? Are they eager to participate?
It was kind of first time doing it in that way. It was during the project. It wasn't done before. So we got a really raw answer from it. Some people felt like this was a bad way how to ask, because there are so many different things that come with it. And it was just way too complex to make it so easy question or participatory. Yes, so that was the main feedback from the people.
Maybe I can add that they used the local newspaper to advertise it, and also social media. How many responses did we get?
We get a bit over 400.
So it was pretty good outcome. And yeah, if you also know some of the coastal qualities, like where is more with reed and marshy, there you don't have access problems because people don't go to marshy areas. Of course, you have more sort of this private land and cattle barbed wire issues in the villages. So nature is never even, and I think in all planning we always constantly we see the problem that phenomena are not distributed evenly. Do we want them to be distributed evenly? No. So what we are doing in planning after all? So better distribution of phenomena. Did we have another? Maybe I skipped Andris before, so I keep.
Thank you. Just wanted to reflect what Jacek mentioned, and we started this small discussion with two very short points. That the one is that in many cases, when there is a crowding of cars, which was evident in both of our cases, the solution is there. We just don't implement it because in many cases the cars go the last stretch, like 2 kilometers, 3 kilometers, hoping that there is a free parking lot available. And then they turn around, it wasn't, and they come back. But they really need to know sharply in advance, don't go the last 2 kilometers. You will suffer. And this is what is the gap where the destination management organizations are coming in. They try to advertise really nice beach holidays all the time. They don't warn about specific problems. They don't say this experience will be halfly used experience of your beach holidays. And they need to step in very constantly. And for that solution, we need to have those electronic car counters, the same as in the underground parking lots. I see just that there is no space inside, so go to another place. And there is navigation on the right 20 kilometers or on the left another 30. And another thing I just wanted to discuss with the coffee together, but some public beach coffees, they are solution. So you said that you started to prohibit, but we have in some smaller settlements that the municipalities, they give out the tender together with some duties that you can have a cafeteria, but you need to maintain the toilet and you need to maintain the waste. And those are among the cleanest toilets in the whole stretch of the beach because their satisfaction of the customers rely on clean toilet. And they attract customers because of that. And in some of the places, I really counted how many visitors pass the cafeteria by, and those are big numbers. So there is really the business. But then probably what could be limited is the space, what they take. So really how much from that public beach area. But that could be part of the problem and part of the solution. And the last one, we negotiated with the planners, the spatial planners, about some public accesses. And somehow, in many cases, it comes like together. Public access, parking should be there. But in many cases, we need public access for community, and all cars are already in the courtyards, but we still need this public access. And this is something where we need to really know that local situation and probably be brave enough not sign some public accesses with a proper navigation, because that's for community, and community knows where the access is, but we don't advertise that for tourists. So being more brave with segmenting solutions as well. Thank you.
Can we have this last slide a question, and then I give floor to more questions.
I have been in Saaremaa several times, and the last one was very beautiful. It was on 16th of September. No tourist at all, but nice weather. And I propose to invent new ideas for your island to have a tourist later than 15th of August. One of proposal, mushroom season. For Lithuanian will be very attractive, but have to be written in Lithuanian language and put into Lithuania. A lot of people will come on September.
I can say you that the mushroom season is all year round. Just need to know the places.
Yeah, we have very warm autumns in the islands, so yeah, November is good time to go mushrooming. So you are all welcome. Don't go to hell. Come to Saaremaa. So do we have more reflections on last presenter or any other presenters, or you are answering the surprise question?
Thank you.
Tomorrow there will be reporting for the session, and they asked me what is the surprise. So I want you to help me. What surprised you in these sessions? So it will be, maybe we can see some of the answers. Reluctant communities, shared problems. Problems are similar, solution differs. But reluctant communities, is it really surprising for planners? Whenever you have attended sort of this planning meeting, there is no surprise. Very rarely the people appear who are for something. Usually people appear if they are against something to the meetings, at least in Estonia. I don't know how it happens elsewhere, but this is what happens with us. So any more surprises? Oh, okay, there are more surprises on the screen. Yes, social aspect of accessibility. So yeah, social and cultural and historical roots. Because I think in the 3 Baltic states, we have the problem also that during the Soviet period, the access was different, and now it's sort of new rules. And also, if you are like old landowner, you know where the landing sites are. If you are a new landowner, you not necessarily always know these places or some kind of fisherman agreements. So yeah, this is something that is needed to know on municipal level, but also it's very hard to take into consideration on national MSP level, because you can't attend to every local agreement. And I like the answer big. I don't know exactly what was big, but there were big surprises. Thank you for attending the session, and I hope you enjoy the dinner.